They came at dawn. The sky above Halcyon Prime, a shining jewel of the Terran frontier, split open with the arrival of the Voran Dominion. Their warships descended like razors from the void. Formation perfect, discipline absolute. The first salvo vaporized orbital defenses. The second gutted the colony's capital. To the Voran, it was a demonstration, a lesson to the upstart species called humanity. Admiral Cathor of the Dominion fleet stood upon the bridge of his flagship Vengeance Ascendant, mandibles curling in satisfaction. "Efficient!" he hissed. Human resistance lasted 12 minutes. 12. Reports flooded in. The human garrison annihilated, civilian ships fleeing, and distress calls scattering like dust on solar winds. The Admiral watched them with detached amusement. "Let them run," he said. "Let them tell Earth what happens to those who defy the Dominion." Below, cities burned. Millions screamed under raining plasma fire. Those who survived watched their skies die. Ships that once bore the banners of peace now littered the atmosphere like falling stars. The humans' final broadcast from Halcyon Prime was short, static choked, a single voice through the flames. "To any who can hear, tell Earth." The Voran came, then silence. And the Voran believed it was over. They were wrong. Dominion. Triumph in the great halls of the Dominion's capital world. The warlords gathered to celebrate. Holograms of burning human colonies played above banquet tables. Slaves poured dark wine into golden chalices as Cathor relayed his victory report. "Their colonies crumble like paper," he boasted. "Their fleets scatter at the first sight of our banners. Earth will kneel soon enough." The assembled nobles laughed, sharp and cruel. The Dominion had crushed hundreds of species across centuries. None had ever risen after the first blow. Why should the humans be any different? They were a young race, barely a few centuries into the stars, naive and idealistic. "They call themselves Terrans," said one noble, amusement in her tone, "as if they own the ground they crawl upon. Perhaps they should rename themselves Ashlings, for that's all that will remain when we're done." Cathor inclined his head, mandibles twitching in approval. "Perhaps we should keep some alive. They make excellent workers, and I hear their children scream beautifully." The hall erupted in cruel laughter. A message pinged on Cathor's wrist display, a priority broadcast from the front. He ignored it. What could it be but another confirmation of victory? Outside, the Voran banners fluttered across conquered space. Their networks hummed with arrogance, their media filled with boasts. The Terran threat is extinguished. The humans flee into the dark. Dominion forever. And in their pride, they missed the silence. Earth had not spoken. Earth had not begged. Earth had not surrendered. They had simply gone quiet. The silence before the storm weeks passed. The Dominion expected retaliation, minor skirmishes, a few angry human ships, perhaps a futile counterstrike. But nothing came. Trade routes were quiet. Human colonies near the borders evacuated without resistance. Their diplomats withdrew from neutral worlds. It was as if humanity had folded in on itself, retreating into the dark heart of Sol. "Pathetic," Cathor muttered. "They hide behind their homeworld like frightened children." His intelligence officers, however, were less certain. Human transmissions had ceased entirely. Not just military channels, but civilian, scientific, and cultural. The network silence spread outward from Earth like a shadow. Something was happening. Yet no spy, no probe, no infiltration team ever returned. And then, the whispers began. A Voran patrol near the uninhabited Perseus Reach vanished. A Dominion outpost on Theta 9 stopped transmitting. Entire fleets went missing without distress calls or debris. Commanders dismissed it as rebellion, pirates, or system failures. But those who had seen human war before, the veterans of earlier border conflicts, felt it in their bones. This was not silence. This was waiting. Earth awakes, the first sign came from the void near the Clith expanse. A Dominion cruiser detected an anomaly, a gravitational ripple too stable to be natural. As they approached, sensors screamed warnings, then went dark. From the black came light. A fleet emerged, massive, angular, silent. No banners, no hails, only the gleam of Terran steel and the faint hum of Old Fury. At the center was a ship unlike any ever seen, a dreadnought of impossible size, dwarfing even the Dominion's largest carriers. Its hull was etched with names, not in human language, but in the carved memorials of the dead. Halcyon Prime, New Kyoto, Orion's Reach. A transmission burst across every frequency, carrying through the stars in a voice cold and clear. "This is Earth Command. You took our people. You burned our homes. You wanted war. You have it." Every Voran ship within 6 systems heard it. Every crew member felt it in their marrow, a message not of fury, but judgment. Seconds later, the Terran fleet opened fire. Not with the slow volleys of Dominion doctrine, but with blinding precision, kinetic rounds striking at near-light speeds, tearing ships apart before alarms could sound. Energy shields collapsed, armor disintegrated, entire vessels ripped open like paper. The Voran had never seen human war on this scale. This was not retaliation, it was retribution. The weapons of Earth across the galaxy. Reports flooded in. Terran war fleets appeared simultaneously in dozens of systems, emerging from stealth fields that baffled sensors. Each one bore different insignias. The fleets of Mars Command, Luna Defense, Titan Vanguard, and the Pacific Armory. Humanity had united every ship, every weapon, every soldier under a single directive. No quarter given. Their weapons defied logic. Planetary rail cannons turned moons into debris fields. Orbital kinetic strikes shattered entire shipyards. Cyber warfare AIs hijacked Dominion systems, turning their own drones against them. In the Dominion capital, entire networks went dark as human infiltration code. Silent, patient, perfect, tore through their data cores. Screens across the planet flickered to life, showing the face of a single Terran admiral. We remember Halcyon Prime. Then the capital's defense grid overloaded, vaporizing half the surface. Cathor watched from orbit, his victory banners now burning in the ion storms of his own world. "Impossible," he whispered, voice trembling. "They were weak." "No," his second-in-command said softly. "They were waiting." Fire across the stars, the Dominion collapsed in months. Every fleet they sent was ambushed before arrival. Every fortress world became a grave. Human dreadnoughts, now dubbed wraith ships, moved like ghosts, striking and vanishing, leaving only wreckage behind. One system after another fell silent. Refugee convoys fled toward neutral space, pursued not by vengeance-fueled humans, but by their own terror. Stories of orbital bombardments so precise they left cities intact, but annihilated armies within seconds. When the Dominion finally sued for peace, they received no answer. Instead, the humans broadcast a final message across all known space. "For every world you burned, 100 shall rise from your ashes. For every soul you took, 1,000 will remember. You wanted victory, you found your defeat." Then the fleet moved on, not to conquer, but to erase. The fall of the Admiral Cathor fled to the outer rim, his once proud fleet reduced to scattered wrecks and terrified survivors. His flagship drifted near an uncharted nebula, systems failing, crew whispering in fear. When the Terran ships appeared, they made no demands, no threats, no speeches, only silence. Cathor watched as a single human cruiser approached, small compared to his own, but radiating an unshakable calm. A transmission arrived, text only. "Admiral Cathor, you are sentenced for Halcyon Prime." He tried to speak, to beg, to reason, but before his voice could reach them, the human ship fired, a single kinetic slug. It passed through the Vengeance Ascendant like a whisper, leaving a glowing wound across its hull. Then the entire ship detonated, scattering fragments into the nebula, fragments that glowed briefly before cooling into nothing. Earth did not gloat. Earth did not broadcast victory. They simply erased him. The lesson of silence. The war ended not with treaties, but with absence. The Dominion ceased to exist, its homeworlds uninhabited, its fleets destroyed, its databases purged. Neighboring empires watched in horror, realizing what humanity had done. Not conquest, but annihilation of power itself. In the aftermath, silence filled the void where arrogance once reigned. Galactic trade routes resumed, cautious and trembling. Rumors spread that Earth's fleets had returned home, unseen, unheard, waiting again in the quiet of soul. On neutral worlds, veterans whispered the same phrase whenever someone spoke too loudly of human weakness: "Never provoke Earth." And when young species asked why, they were shown the scars across the stars. The worlds where the Dominion once stood, now lifeless and cold. Humanity did not claim them, they left them as warnings.